Good afternoon, Chef Tony Matassa. Today at barbecueguys.com, we're going to be making something called Grand Marnier and bourbon chicken legs. Now this recipe can do about between 12 and 15 legs. Today I have 10 here, but just so you know, you could do that many. I'll be using, it's a pretty cool little deal. It's a leg and wing rack from Bayou Classic. And this rack actually will hold either 12 legs or 12 wings. Like I said, I've got 10 today, but you could do 12 to 15 with this recipe. Now all you need for this recipe is 1/4 of a teaspoon of cayenne pepper, 1/2 of a teaspoon of freshly ground black pepper, 1½ teaspoons of kosher or sea salt. And I'll show you in a second. We're going to blend that together, and that's going to go on the chicken. And then for the sauce itself, you need a stick of butter, diced, whoop, there we go, and preferably chilled, which is why I have mine sitting in an ice bath. A cup of ketchup, 1/4 of a cup or 2 ounces of any kind of bourbon you would like, preferably a good one. 1/8 of a cup or 1 ounce of Grand Marnier, or you could use a different orange liqueur if that's what you feel like doing. Grand Marnier is probably the best, but the others taste pretty close when you put them in a sauce like this. 1 cup of finely minced fresh onion, 1 clove finely minced fresh garlic, 2½ tablespoons of packed of brown sugar, 1/4 of a cup of molasses, 1/2 of a teaspoon of kosher or sea salt, 2 teaspoons of brown mustard, 1/4 of a teaspoon of chili powder, 1½ tablespoons of Worcestershire sauce, and 1 teaspoon of freshly ground black pepper on this end. Okay, as I was saying, the first thing you need to do is assemble the 1/4 of a teaspoon of cayenne pepper, 1/2 teaspoon of freshly ground black pepper, and the 1½ teaspoons of kosher salt. You want to blend that together. And what you'll do with this is you're going to rub this underneath the skin on your chicken legs and place the skin back. And try not to tear the skin or anything. What I'm talking about, you see on a leg like this, how the skin will actually, I'm hoping you can see this, how the skin will move, and you can kind of pull it down, and then you can also do like this to pull it back up. Well, first you'll season it up, and then you'll pull it back up. So let's get started here. Season that guy up. Pull it up. You want to make sure that you have your grill preheated for about a direct medium-high heat. And as soon as I finish doing all these, since I want them to sit at room temp for about a ½ an hour, so while that's happening, we'll be making the sauce. To begin your sauce, go ahead and get your pot either on the stove if you're at your house, or if you're out wherever, camping, tailgating, wherever you might have your grill. Go ahead and put your pot on the stove or the grill. Melt your butter. As soon as your butter melts, add your onions. You want to cook them down to they're translucent. It should be about 5 or 6 minutes before you add the rest of the ingredients. Get the onions on. Once the onions are ready, everything else goes in except for the bourbon and the Grand Marnier. And you'll cook all of this after you incorporate it all for about 15 minutes. We incorporate all this, and then I'll close the hood. Like I said, we'll let it cook for about 15 minutes or so, just to kind of, it's going to reduce a little bit, and everything will kind of cook together. Make a nice little sauce. Now that the sauce has reduced a little bit and it's bubbling nicely, we're going to add the Grand Marnier and the bourbon. You want to stir this around again just to incorporate. Be very careful when you mess with fire and alcohol. unless you're trying to flambe yourself, you want to be very gentle with this part of it. You only want to heat it for a few minutes just to kind of heat everything through and meld it all together. Once your sauce is just heated through, you want to take it off the fire because you don't want to burn all the good old alcohol out of there. I'll show you how easy this is. You just stick them on here. Doesn't get much better than that. Once all of your chicken legs are properly loaded onto the chicken leg holder and your grill is properly preheated, all you have to do, stick it on there like that and let them go. We're going to let them cook for about 25 minutes and then take them off. We'll baste them with the sauce. You reserve some of the sauce for the table. We'll baste them with the sauce and put them back on for 3 to 5 minutes, depending on the grill, of course, just to let the sauce glaze over. And then you take them out and they go to the table, and you have more fresh sauce that you can apply to them at the table that's not caramelized on there. After about 25 minutes, your legs should be ready to come off of the grill. They look kind of plain Jane now. That's just because there's nothing on the outside. You need to have, you don't have to, but you need a nice size basting brush. This one's from Charcoal Companions. The silicone ones are best for when you're going to do some sort of a sticky, any kind of a glaze, something kind of sticky, so that you don't end up with a bunch of hairs all over your food. But like I said, you don't have to have it. It's just not really big on having hair in my food. By the way, you need to reserve about a cup of your sauce for doing the glaze on all of the legs. And once you get them all coated, they'll go back on the grill for about 3 or 4 minutes, just enough to glaze this up with all the sugar and stuff in it. The molasses, it's going to glaze up nicely with the bourbon. Bourbon gives it the flavor, and the molasses and the sugar going to give it that good caramelization. Once you have them all coated, if you have any left, I guess it depends on how brave you are, but I don't like to waste any of my my sauce. I want it all on there. You can go ahead and cover them up and get them back on the grill. There you have it. Grand Marnier and bourbon barbecued chicken legs. Grand Marnier, bourbon, and molasses make an excellent glaze for chicken. I hope you enjoyed watching today. I know I enjoyed having you. I hope that if you're looking for a grill dome or a cooking accessory that you'll give us a shot at Barbecue Guys. Nobody's going to undersell us on price. Remember, we smoke the competition.